Yeah.
All right. So I think good morning, everyone. So my name is Thank you Liu, rhymes like thank you. Very easy to remember my name. All right. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about the math education in the United States. All right. So I think I have about an hour. So I probably won't spend the whole hour here. But if you have any questions, feel free to stay behind and ask me questions. All right. Let me bring up my little remote here. So math, all right. So why math, all right? So one thing I really like about math is that unlike other STEM subjects, there's no prerequisite, all right. So when a kid is really young, he can already learn math if he's interested, all right. So it's not like chemistry or physics where you need some prerequisite of other subjects. So that's one thing I really like. And to me, math, other than the reading skills, for a young student, the most important skill to develop is actually math itself, all right. Plus, you can actually develop your math skills over time to whatever level you want, and you can do it quite easily also compared to other subjects. Right? For example, it's quite difficult to see a student developing his maybe techniques in physics and all that all by himself or herself. It's quite difficult. But math is easy. Math is like a game. It's like a puzzle that you want to solve. All right. I like to think of math as a foundation of quantitative reasoning. All right. So a lot of sciences. Subjects like physics, chemistry, and engineering relies heavily on mathematics. And for those of us who are into computer science, from general programming to artificial intelligence, deep learning, things like that, they actually mostly mathematics also. All right? And for those of you who are worried about future jobs, you want to learn something about deep learning, trust me on that. You can mark my words today that you want to learn something about deep learning or machine learning at this point, all right? And also it's very useful for college admission too, all right? When you apply for college, they look for what we call rigorous courses that you've taken. They want to make sure that you've taken the more challenging courses. If you're taking calculus, they want to see that you're taking calculus BC and not just AB. Things like that, all right? So, and also, in fact, in some top colleges, I even mentioned names here, MIT, Caltech, and CMU, for example. These days, they have a section. They specifically ask you, what's your AMC scores? What's your AIME scores? They really do care whether you actually spend enough time or whether your interest is actually in mathematics or not. All right? And for other colleges, you can always put your scores, if you are interested in the contest math, into the sections on achievement also. So there are places for you to put in your achievements regarding math, particularly math contest also. All right? But when a kid learns about contest math, it's not about winning. Contest math also teach you how to think. It's really about problem-solving skills that you develop also. So don't feel bad if your kid or my kid do not win certain contests and all that. They pick up some skills in problem-solving, which are very useful in other disciplines also. So this slide might be controversial. I do want to put it up right now. I'm not to scare you, to remind you, you live in the Bay Area. Bay Area is different than other regions of this country. All right. In California, it's normal. This is California standard. Then 9th grade, you're taking geometry. This is a path everyone knows, right? In 10th grade, you're taking Algebra 2, trigonometry. I think this is normal. This is a norm in California, not in the Bay Area. Unfortunately or fortunately, you live in the Bay Area. This is the norm. All right? In the Bay Area, the norm is that in 9th grade, you're taking Algebra 2 with Trig. And you're taking Pre-Cal in 10th grade, 11th grade, you're taking Calculus BC. Not AB, mind you, only BC. All right? And then 12th grade, you're supposed to take maybe multivariable calculus if you're interested. All right? But I'll tell you, more than 10% of STEM students in the Bay Area are actually 1 to 2 years ahead of this schedule here. In other words, more than 10% of the STEM students here are taking Calculus BC, or at least Pre-Cal in 9th grade. Otherwise, you're not the top 10% students in the Bay Area if you want to do STEM or you want to go to good colleges. Right? I know this slide may be controversial, but I want to put it up here to remind you where you're living. All right. All right. So for kids that are younger, if you know this is good, Your job is to have a solid foundation in mathematics, all right? So I won't talk about what topic you're supposed to know and all that, but the point being that there's one crucial point which makes a distinction about your path in STEMs. And that's in 5th grade, there's a math placement test. A lot of people do not know. If you're younger kids, you may not know. You should know. In 5th grade, there's a placement test. They place your student to a certain path. They decide what classes you're going to take starting in 6th grade. You want to take the placement test and be good enough that you follow this path minimally in the Bay Area. That's the idea, all right? And in other words, what it means is that you probably want to take what? Algebra 1 in 7th grade, geometry in 8th grade. That's the minimum you want to do. Mind you, you're in the Bay Area, all right? So if you live in North Dakota, nothing against North Dakota, that's a different story, all right? But you don't live in North Dakota. Let me remind you of that one more time, all right? All right. So if you're young, if you have time to read books and all, let me recommend a few books for you, all right? If you're young, there's a puzzle book. First of all, I don't know if you know Alpha Benjamin. He's a great mathematician at Harvey Mudd, all right? He has a series of videos about math in general. He has written a book for mental math. I know some kids like to do abacus. There are ways to make your kids excited about math education and all that. And this is a good book though. If your kids start doing abacus and things like that, this book about mental math is a very good book to have, for a kid to have. After this book, they'll tell you 9995 times 9995 equals to 999,00025 without thinking. They know the answer immediately. Nice book to have, all right? And there's a little puzzle book here. I like this book myself. It's for very young kids. And also, I like to encourage or remind kids or get them excited in math. There are 2 books here. Any books about the biographies about Sir Isaac Newton, Euler, maybe Gauss, great books to have. All right? Particularly Euler, nice gentleman. Not only is he a great teacher, he's also a very humble, very gentle person also. All right? Not sure so much about Newton. That's a different story altogether. All right? And there's a book called Journey Through Genius. Great book if you've never read it. It's very good for if you are like elementary school student, maybe a middle school students. Very nice book to read also. All right? Our discussion today really starts with middle school. Middle school is crucial. If you mess up middle school on your math education, you have to catch up. That's your problem. All right? So I don't have much time here, so I'm just going to bring in a list of courses and give you a high-level overview. But that's not the purpose of the talk. I will give you an idea what classes your kids are learning in the process and what they should be good at also. All right? And later on, I'm going to tell you all the classes that will lead them to taking when they go to high school. All right? Everyone knows Algebra 1. Like I mentioned in my agenda there, your kid probably should be doing Algebra 1 somewhere around 7th grade. All right, if you follow my agenda there, all right. So Algebra 1 is easy. This is the first time they introduce ideas of like symbols. So beyond arithmetic, so I know how to do division, fractions, reciprocals, I know how to handle negative numbers and all that. And this is the first time they introduce the concept of symbols. So you manipulate the symbols and you understand the world has different sets of numbers, from natural numbers to integers, that can be negative, to rational numbers, that means a number that can be expressed as a fraction. P divided by Q, and that can be irrational. So numbers that cannot be represented as P over Q, like pi, like E, for example. And also for real numbers in general, and also there's something called complex or imaginary numbers, right? This is the first time we introduce the students to concepts like this, right? The concept is mainly to help students to simplify expressions involving variables, constants, etc. This is foundation, this is bread and butter for math, right? I won't go through the topics, it's not my purpose here this morning. Right. Algebra 2 is when your kids start learning about sort of like a continuation of Algebra 1, but they also have to give them something more deep in terms of math education. This is time when they are introduced to concepts like quadratic functions, complex numbers, sequences and series, exponential and logarithmic functions. This is the very beginning concepts. This is the first time they're exposed to concepts like this. Maybe even a bit about trigonometry and statistics. We call them combinatorics. For those of you who do not know what combinatorics means, that means either a way to permute certain items or to fetch a number of items out of a collection of different items, and also the study of probability. That's when we study combinatorics. All right. You may wonder, if your student, if your kid is interested in contest math, so what subjects do they test? Are they too difficult or things like that? What subjects do they study? I want to tell you, when you do contest math, at least on the high school level, usually they do not test you on calculus. Most of the contest math subjects fall under 4 categories. The 4 categories are A, algebra. But this is not your algebra 2 that you learn here. It's usually what we call algebra 2.5. It's not crazy enough to be called algebra 3, but it's not your basic algebra 2. We should call contest math on algebra, we call them algebra 2.5. All right? The second topic they ask you is totally different than algebra. They test you on geometry. The whole country, the education of math is de-emphasizing on geometry, but not on contest math. They never change the emphasis on geometry. It's one of the 4 pillars in contest math. All right? They ask you questions way beyond what you learn in a regular geometry class, up to the high school level. All right? The third topic they test you on contest math is what we call number theory. Now this is a subject rarely taught even, all the way up to high school. So they will go deep, they'll go very deep into that. They'll ask you, for example, 2017 to the power 2017 to the power 2017 to the power 2017. What's the last 3 digits of the expansion? Your kid cannot answer those questions unless they've been trained, unless they've been taught how to handle those, how to do modulus arithmetic basically. All right. So there's a third topic they test you. All right. The fourth topic they ask you is on combinatorics. But the combinatorics that you learn all the way up to pre-calc is not sufficient to answer contest math problems too. They go way beyond that. All right. And but anyway, those are the 4 topics. It reminds me to tell you about the 4 foundation topics they test you on contest math. All right. Again, I won't go for details about what the topics are. But I mentioned about geometry. All right. So depending on where you want to be in the path that I mentioned here, your kid probably should be taking geometry somewhere around 8th grade, if not earlier. All right. If not, you're behind already because you live in the Bay Area. All right. So geometry is study of figures, from shape, size, relative positions of figures, space. But usually, in high school, geometry is about Euclidean geometry, things we understand. All right. And they have major applications in physics, computer science, and even in different branches of math also. Again, I won't go through details about those topics. All right. That brings us to the first kind of a difficult subject that some students will find, and that's on precalculus. All right. As the name will imply, precalculus is about preparing you to take calculus. That's the purpose. All right. And they usually include a review about algebra. They are very serious then. They talk about domains, they talk about ranges, so about the function. And they also introduce seriously to you about the concept of exponential functions, logarithmic functions, and also a lot of times they spend a lot of effort on explaining to us about trigonometric functions. Those are not just sines and cosines of a 90-degree triangle. They also look at a unit circle approach. What happens if you look at a sine of an angle larger than 90 degrees? What does it mean? So that's when they look at they look at this kind of topic in pre-calculus. They look at identities, they look at equalities and inequalities also. Right? And this is a time when they go into details of analytic geometry. So this is sometimes known as a coordinate geometry. This is basically trading geometry problems as a algebra problem. All right, so you solve geometry as an algebra problem, right? So this is when you study analytic geometry. But all this is to prep us so that we're ready to take calculus, all right? So that brings us to the sort of like the ignore all this slide. This is about what do I really mean by algebra 2.5? Algebra 2.5 is where you need additional knowledge and expertise when you go to do contest math in terms of algebra, all right? For example, in typical high school curriculum, up to pre-calculus, they won't teach you enough about Vieta formulae. They won't tell you something about the conic sections, maybe in the pre-calc here, and maybe complex numbers, Inequalities are much beyond what you would normally learn in a regular high school course. They go to AIME inequality, Cauchy-Schwarz inequality, including rearrangement inequality too. All right. For series and sequences, they go beyond the regular arithmetic and geometric series and sequences. They go all the way to arithmetical, geometrical series, finite differences, even functional equations. Those are extra topics you need to excel, to do well in context math. All right. So it's not about, so one misconception that a lot of people have is, oh, he's a genius, or she's a genius in math. No, let me rephrase it. He or she has been prepared to do context math. All right. It can be taught actually. All right. So it brings us to the sort of like the apex of the education in your high school. For some of us, that would be Calculus BC. All right. And it's a study of what we call continuous change. We look at some distance or some differences so small that become smooth. We look at slopes, we look at area of integration. So there are two branches in calculus. One is what we call differential calculus. So this is when you look at slope rate of changes. A good application in physics might be velocity or acceleration of a particle. All right. And this is what we call differential calculus. The other side of the equation will be integral calculus. This is when we look at, I don't know, volume of an object generated by a certain curve. Maybe in physics we calculate the moment of inertia of an object when it undergoes rotational dynamics. This is a time when you do sometimes what we call antiderivative. I have an expression, what function will, when you do derivative on, will give you this function. So this is sometimes as an antiderivative. All right. This part of modern mathematics education. I like the comment here from one textbook author here. Course in calculus is a gateway to other more advanced courses in mathematics, devoted to the study of functions, limits, broadly known as mathematical analysis. One thing I find interesting though in the Bay Area, in some high schools, they label a mathematical analysis class to be inferior to a pre-cal class. So some high school actually label their easier pre-cal classes to be analysis class, which really surprised me and a lot of mathematicians, because actually analysis actually means advanced calculus. So they have a different meaning in the context of math. All right. Anyway, and notice one thing though, you also should not have the misconception that, oh, if I don't do STEM, I don't have to do well in math. In particular, I don't have to care too much about calculus. So not true. All right. Even if you want to do economics, it's basically almost like half a degree in math. You want to do well in other non-STEM subjects, you still have to do well in calculus. All right. Again, I won't go through details about what topics you cover in calculus A, B, or BC classes. There are two classes here, A, B, and BC. So let me tell you, in the Bay Area, the norm for the just a norm, not even the top 10% of the students, they will take calculus BC, not calculus AB. So if you can, do calculus BC, not calculus AB. All right. And in fact, I think this is information probably from the College Board. All right. So calculus AB is sort of like introduction to calculus. It's equivalent to about half year or a semester of education on the college level. That's the way the College Board is thinking. All right. And AP calculus BC is 1 year of education on the college level on calculus. All right. So what's the difference between AB and BC? This is the basics from the differential calculus to integral calculus, sort of like an introduction. All right. But you go beyond that in calculus BC. You learn everything the same, but then you would also need to understand about Taylor series or other Maclaurin series expansion. You also need to understand convergence. Sorry, I don't have the comment here about convergence tests. This is new. They have added some new topics to calculus BC test recently. Parametric equations, equation described by multiple variables, and also integration by parts. These are techniques you use to do the integral calculus. And certainly not just rectangular coordinate systems. You also go beyond rectangular coordinate systems to learn something about polar coordinate systems and also the interpolations also. So these are the extra topics that goes beyond your regular calculus AB course. So by the way, even within AP calculus AB, they have changed the curriculum when it comes down to the AP calculus AB test. they now will ask you to learn something about the L'Hopital's rule. For those of you who know this kind of stuff, this is about how to look at a limit in the form 0 over 0, infinity over infinity. You can take the differentiation of both and look at the same ratio again. Right? This is new. They have changed the curriculum on the AP Calculus AB test. So AP Calculus BC contains everything I just mentioned, plus the extra topics here. Like I mentioned, convergence test, series expansion, use of parametric equations, polar coordinate systems. That means in 3 dimensions, it also includes the cylindrical and spherical coordinate systems also. All right. And improper integrals, so you have to take limits after you do the integration, and of course the differential equations also. All right. This is easy. Partial fractions is about a polynomial expansions, sorry, rational functions with factorizable denominator. You can break them down into multiple fractions and call them partial fractions, which allows you to, when you do integration, the result will be in a log functions. But I don't need to go into details. All right. So all this is sort of like the regular high school education in math, right? There are more though. If you remember my very first slide or second slide I mentioned there, some students actually move on in high school. In fact, a lot of students in high school move on beyond Calculus BC in high school. That's the norm. Certainly for the top 10% STEM students, Calculus BC is not the end point. It's not the destination in high school. The destination is usually multivariable calculus plus maybe differential equations and linear algebra. That is the destination. That's what they learned before going to college for the top 10% STEM students in the Bay Area. All right. Now you want your kid to be in top 10% though. If your kid is not in the top 10% STEM student, you might want to be there, right? So this is actually the norm. All right. So anyway, I want to show you some of the exams that your students, I should say must, but they really should do well when it comes down to college admission. All right. So first, there's the I mentioned about the SAT math section. They underwent a lot of changes, right, last year, and so I won't go through the details. I just want to show you some of the changes now. First of all, in the past, calculator is always allowed. All right. In the new SAT math section now, calculators are allowed on certain sections, but not allowed on other sections. So this is new. It's a new change in SAT math sections. And in fact, someone did a very detailed analysis on how many questions appears. I will spare you the details. It's not important. This point here. I just want to tell you there's a calculator changes. Usage changes in the SAT math sections. Okay. Other than that, the content has not changed much, except that one thing I want you to know is that the College Board seems to continue to de-emphasize the importance of geometry. I think I mentioned a little bit about that earlier. This seems to be a trend, all right? So they seem to emphasize more on anything but geometry. They don't think geometry is that useful, which is kind of surprising, all right? But this is the trend. I've seen that in the last decade already, all right? What about subject tests? All right, there are 2 math subject tests your kids can take. There's level 1 and level 2. I recommend that you take level 2, not level 1. All right, but for completeness, I put down information on SAT subject test level 1 here also. All right, so the topics they test you are regular: algebra, number operations. They do ask you questions on geometry, plane geometry, 3D also, and a bit on statistics, data analysis also, and also probability, or I would call them combinatorics. All right. There's a difference between subject test and the SAT math section. All right. In that subject test has not undergone any major changes last few years. They still penalize you if you guess your answer. You guess your answer wrong, sorry, they take off a quarter of points out of your score. All right. In the, I don't think I mentioned here, in the new SAT math section now, they encourage you to guess. So if I don't know the answer, you still answer the question. There's no penalty. They changed that. All right, so you should know about this. All right. But I want you to take SAT subject test level 2. All right. They cover the topics all the way up to pre-calculus level, although they don't really ask those difficult questions in pre-calculus. All right. Subject test level 1 and level 2 both are 1 hour tests, very short tests. All right. 50 multiple choice questions within 1 hour. All right. Same questions they ask you, same sections. And then the final test I want to mention is a AP calculus, well, AB and BC test. These are a lot longer. All right, I think I mentioned the I don't think 3 hour and 50-minute test, and in fact both of them have 2 sections, multiple choice sections, and also the free response questions. You can actually find the problems online on all the previous free response questions, I think up to year 2000. Before that, maybe a bit more difficult, but it's good enough. There are lots of problems you can practice. But it's difficult to find multiple choice questions to practice on, all right, because they do not publish them. All right. And the test is 3 hours and 15 minutes, and certain sections allows you to use the calculator. Certain sections do not allow you to use the calculator. All right. And and they recommend you using a graphing or graphical calculator, not a scientific calculator. All right. So and in fact, to some extent, sometimes it's not so much a problem here. Sometimes I realize that it's actually a problem to some of my students. Some of my students are simply addicted to calculators. But at least they're not addicted to video games, but they're addicted to calculators. When I see them doing a problem on SAT math, I see that they don't even think, they try to put everything in the calculator to look up the answer. That's a wrong approach. It's a lot slower. You try to put everything in your calculator. All right. So when I teach my students about SAT, I usually try to see, are you sure you want to use a calculator to solve 3x equals to 18, all right, rather than just knowing the answer to be 6, all right. So there's something I want to mention. For some unknown reason, a lot of my students seem to be addicted to putting everything into a calculator without thinking, all right. That's a problem, because a lot of these tests are very time limited, all right. You don't want to be relying everything on the calculators, all right. Anyway, I have just for the sake of it, I put up 2 slides here on the grade distribution. All right. A lot of people think, oh, calculus AB is easier. I'm not a STEM student. I just want to do maybe business, and I'll just take calculus AB. Right. That's a wrong attitude. First of all, understand that good colleges usually prefer that you're taking calculus BC because you're taking a more rigorous load on your work at high school level. Secondly, it's actually a lot easier to get a good grade in calculus BC, not in calculus AB. All right. Calculus AB, to get a 5, 18% of them get a 5. How many percent do you think will get a 5 on calculus BC? Take a guess.
30.
Huh? 30, huh? 42%. All right. So there's really no reason not to work harder. You make your college admission officers happier, you are happy, you learn more. It's easier to get a better grade too. You just have to work harder. All right. So this is sort of like an unknown fact. A lot of people do not know. It's actually easier to do calculus BC, but you have to be prepared. In some schools here though, in the Bay Area, the school will force you to take calculus AB first before you're allowed to take calculus BC, right? Depends on your school. All right. Some schools allow you to just take your pick. In fact, you take one of the 2 courses over the course, right? It depends on your school. Yes?
Why it's getting easier in BC? And also
No. Because those students are actually better students usually. Yeah. Not because
the quality of the students.
It's absolutely more difficult. The problem, right?
You're screening the student already.
You self-screen yourself.
Okay.
It's self-screening. You self-screen yourself first. You decide not to do well already. Yeah. Yes?
Is that common to take AB first and the next year take BC?
Depends on school. In the Bay Area, some schools will simply not ask you. They have to pick one. In some schools in the Bay Area, you have to take AB first before you take BC. Right. If you ask me, you should not take AB and then BC in 2 separate years, because the topics overlap so much, actually, right? But then it depends on your school. Some school will not allow you to go straight to Calculus BC. Depends on the school.
But if you take BC, for AB and BC in 2 separate years, then you might not have enough time to take the subject test.
That's
BC,
correct.
Right?
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. So I want to convince you. So in fact, one nice thing about working for Springlight, they have tons of information to help you to do a college admission. So I get some help from Springlight. They tell me some information about some admission data. But this is public data. It's not like some private or made up data. It's a public data from Stanford. They will tell you they are very serious when it comes down to college admission. Notice that one thing they like. Look at the section on talent. Very important. How do you show your talent in an area? Well, yeah, every kid is a genius. My kid is a genius and all that too. All right. But how do you prove? How do you have track records that your kid is doing well? Maybe even with some talent. All right. So by the way, I should mention that in Stanford, talent can mean sports. It's a Division I school. So a lot of Olympic swimmers are there. A lot of the winter skiers or something is in Stanford too, right? But from an academics perspective, they usually refer to things like contests. All right, that's why it's very important. So look at I'm not sure if your kid wants to go to Stanford, but if he wants to or she wants to, remember they do care about contests. All right, and of course standard test scores, rigor on the colleges, very important for Stanford. All right. So a lot of people say, well, my kid, I do not know what score my kid has to aim at when it comes down to SAT, right? So I have numbers for you, all right? So you don't have to guess anymore, all right? Now Stanford has a 75 percentile data for us, all right? And I don't know if you know, you are Asian, all right? So when it comes down to the percentile, you have to look at 75 percentile, not the 25 percentile. Unless you're also an Olympic swimmer, that's a different story, all right? So please look at the 75 percentile here, all right? SAT Math, 780. That's 75 percentile, not 90 percentile, all right? So even for Stanford, you have to get at least 780 just to be considered that you might have a chance that your application is being looked at, all right? You have to be very careful about the SAT score, all right? And that's Stanford. That's easier compared to other schools, right? How about MIT, all right? MIT, first of all, well, they think the rigor is not so important, not very important like Stanford. But let's take a look at this then, all right? The, what was that? Yeah, talent, that's about contest. And I know the next data. Yeah. If you have a choice, do you take the more rigorous courses? In fact, I'm not a college counselor here. You should ask Sherry about this kind of information. But basically, it means that compared to your classmates, is that student challenging himself or herself, taking the most rigorous courses that the school can offer? That's usually the meaning of rigor. All right. In other words, your counselor has a say, your school counselor has a say when it comes down to your kid's application to college. They decide whether your student is taking the most rigorous courses in the high school. This is the data I want to show you. MIT class data 2021, SAT Math, this is 25 to 75 percentile. What's the high end? 800, maximum score. Let me rephrase in English in case you don't understand. You have to get 800 in SAT Math, otherwise, sorry. All right, you can always go to other schools. All right, so that's the meaning of this. It's 25 to 75% percentile. All right.
How many times can a student take SAT?
Well, you can take as many times as you want. You don't have to report, right? But you have to ask Sherry about this kind of information. So I stop here on the regular classes Now I see you some time. I want to introduce to you a different kind of area. to show you your talent or your interest on math also, if your kid is interested. Let me emphasize, you have a question?
Yes, so the SAT subject level 2 compared with the SAT math section.
Right.
How do you think the difficulty?
SAT subject test is more difficult in general.
But easy get 800.
Correct.
Wow.
Because so that you can go to MIT.
Even though you have the 5 or 6 round, you still can get 800 for SAT 2 subject. For SAT 1,
math section.
Yeah, math section, if 1 round, not 800.
In other words, you have to be careful when you do math sections. Not that you should be careless when you do the subject test, but they are more forgiving.
But the subject they cover.
But the level of difficulty, subject test is more difficult than the math section test.
What is the good time to take the subject math, sec 2?
Level 2.
Yeah.
Okay, level 2 require, you don't really have to be taking or taken pre-cal. In theory, they tell you you should know all the subject up to pre-cal level before taking subject test, right? But my experience is no, they don't ask that tough questions. But it would be nice if by the time you take the SAT subject test that you have taken the pre-calculus already.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, they don't ask like matrices and vectors and all that, they don't. But if you look at the college board information, they tell you they test you questions all the way up to the pre-calculus level.
So if the student takes algebra trig and at school it's get A, the school is a Chinese school, I think it's he can good enough. But if one bills guarantee get 800, you take the pre-cal at the school and then still can get, even in the middle year take the pre-cal, you can get SAT 2 subject. Yeah, I have 3 cases. Yeah, my 2 olders. Well, they are taking pre-cal, they took the SAT 2 subject, and both of them get 800. My younger son, after he finished the Algebra 2 Trig, he took the SAT 2, also get 800.
So I want to change gear a little bit, tell you something about math contests, all right? There are many math contests, all right? So I want to bring your attention to one of those, which I think is very nice because it's local, all right? I don't know if you know something called Math League in the Bay Area. They run a contest roughly once every 2 months or so, all right? Usually in the Bay Area. For example, today, they're running a contest in Palo Alto, all right? So this is a very great way for younger kids to learn about contest math. How young is young, right? Yeah. I won't scare you, but I have to tell you what really happened, all right? Most contest kids start actually around the time when they are around 6th or 7th grade, all right? Very late, if you want to do contest math, if you are already in high school, because you're very busy, the best time to do contest math is when you really have nothing better to do. And that's when you are in what? Middle school, or maybe at the 5th or 6th grade in elementary school, right? But it all depends on kids, right? The nice thing about when you start out young is that you have no fear. Who cares if I lose? For the whole 5 years, I don't care. It's just fun because you see your friends there, right? Also remember that to do contest is not about winning. It's about how you learn tricks, how you think, how you problem solve, how you solve problems in general too. All right. And I'll tell you, most students actually start contest math when they're in middle school. Usually around, I would say around 8th grade. All right. That's a good time to start. But I prefer that you start earlier. All right. In fact, I believe that a student, if well prepared, they should start contest math as early as probably about 4th grade. Actually. I highlight some of the contests that are more important, all right? I don't know if you have boys or girls at home. There's a big difference, all right? Girls got all the benefits of doing math contests, in case you do not know, all right? I'll give you some statistics here. If you are a girl, you apply for MIT or Caltech, all right? You have more than double the chance of entering compared to a boy. All right. So I think the admission statistics through MIT or MIT, for example, is roughly about 16% if you do early admission. But if you're a boy, I'm sorry, it drops down to 6%. So it depends, all right. And if you're a girl and you qualify for AIME, that's all you need. All right. I'm sorry, if you're a boy, you have to aim for usable or usable. All right. So to go one level beyond that. All right. I'll tell you those contests. All right. Too late to do a sex change. But I'll tell you some of the more important contests. Right. I mentioned Math League because it's easy. You pay your deal and you go to do a contest. You can do like once every 1 or 2 months also in the Bay Area. And it's kind of fun. You see hundreds of students there and they know one another. It's almost like a little kind of gathering for the kids also. And they break down the contest into 3 levels, 3 divisions. The elementary school, middle school, and the high school. All right. And the high school in particular is very the middle school is very popular in Math League. All right. And also, if you win something there, they also enhance your chance subsequently in the summer to go to apply summer programs though. So there's no interest, no intention to talk about what you should be doing in summer, all right? But in summer, a lot of students actually go to take some summer programs, all right? And it's very competitive. It's almost like applying for like a miniature experience of applying for college, all right? And winning contests like this, even local, increase the chance of being admitted to those summer programs. All right, and those are one thing I want to mention. Other than I'm going to talk about the AMC, AIME, and the usable path. But I want to tell you, other than this path, which is the most important math contest path in this country, for group contests, the most important one is actually called AIME, American Regions Math League. I think they go to contests in four universities. They link them in a satellite, and they do it's called the Super Bowl of Math Contests. All right. If you're curious how do they do a math group contest, you try to go to AIME. All right. And Bay Area always wins. We're always the first team in the country. All right. Not in New York, not in New Jersey, here in the Bay Area. At least they've won, I think, 3 championships out of last 4 years. All right, 15 students team. So how do you join that team now? All right. Oh, sorry, you have to win some contest first before you join the team, right? So winning on Math League level, plus maybe some contest here, will promote you to certain team in AIME. That's how you join the teams then, all right? Usually in the Bay Area, we send about a few teams, not just one team. You send a few teams to Las Vegas. That's one of the centers linked by satellite for the AIME contest. All right. And if you're a girl, or not you, I mean, if your kid is a girl, then you probably should know something about math prize for girls also. Very nice contest. All right. So I start with AMC 8. That's the first kind of like significant contest. Right. So please understand that in middle school, what you do does not affect your college admission. All right. Does not. They don't look at middle school data. All right. But this is a very good way to prepare you to do math contests in high school. All right. So first was AMC 8. A lot of you know AMC 8 if your kids around that age. 25 multiple choice question, 40-minute test, very short. And most schools run them here in the Bay Area. All right. So that's an honor. If you're top 1%, top 5%, they put them in certain honor roll or distinguished honor roll. All right. They give you certain prizes and all that. The real honor is actually, or the real advantage of what is that, if you do well in AMC 8, it increases your chance to go to a summer program in the summer. All right. And in fact, the summer after 8th grade is considered high school already. When it goes to college admission, then you can write down what you do in the summer after your 8th grade. So in other words, 8th grade summer is considered part of your college application data. All right. So before that, it's not. All right. But the real contest to me starts in what we call AMC 10 and AMC 12. All right. These are the major contests in this country. I put down a number 100,000. It's not 100,000. Many more.
Oh, this year they announced the number 300,000.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. Right?
Yeah.
So for first time they announced the numbers. 300,000 students are taking part in the AMC 10 and 12. Yeah. Very significant contest. I think earlier I mentioned that in some tech schools, they now seem to ask you, what's your score on AMC 10, what's your score AMC 12, what's your score AIME? It will be nice if you don't have to leave that section blank because you've never taken a test there. All right. And also, this is 25 questions, 5-minute multiple choice questions. I won't go through all the details. They test you 4 subjects. I mentioned the algebra, geometry, number theory, and combinatorics. Right. They do deduce point though. If you have an answer incorrectly, they give you 0 points. That means they deduce points actually. Because if you do not answer a question, you get 1.5 points already. So you can go to college do nothing. You win some points already. 1.5 times 7, you get that automatically. Or if you don't answer anything, which can happen actually. All right. The 2 contests actually overlap. The easier problems on 12 are the more difficult or medium questions in AMC 10. All right. So there are each test has 2 versions, A and B. You can take both. They are usually 1 week apart, and they will take the higher score for you to try to qualify you to the next round. The next round is the AIME. I should tell you that they would usually take top 5% of the AMC 12, top 2.5% of AMC 10. To qualify you to go to the next round. It's called Invitational Math Examination or AIME. Right. This is important. I think I mentioned it here because top scoring students in these schools are awarded a pin, but more importantly, they give you a better chance to go to good summer math programs. Like I mentioned, how do they know you're good? Because they will ask you to submit your teacher's recommendation, your school's records and all that, but they would like to see how you are doing in your AMC 10 and AMC 12, all right? So programs like these are the very famous math programs, Canada, USA Math Camp, ROS, and Promise in Boston. These are very nice research programs, all right? But today I don't have time to talk about any math research programs for school kids also, but those are almost the top-end math research programs in the country. All right. The goal of taking AMC 10 AMC 12 is so that you can be qualified or be invited to the math examination. All right. Now, AIME is a 15-question, 3-hour test. Don't ask you 15 questions. You have 3 hours to answer the questions. And I remember the average score is, I think, 3. That means out of 15 problems, on average, a student taking a test can answer 3 questions only. All right. It's not an easy question. It's not an easy test. And yeah, and the score, first of all, how many people are qualified every year? Roughly about 6,000. All right, that's the goal. For most students, this is a goal. If you can reach AIME level, you are serious about doing math in a high school level. All right, and if you're a girl, even better. That's all you need. Almost, I wouldn't say that's all you need. You still need good GPA, good teachers' recommendation letters, extracurricular activities and all that, right? But from an academic excellence perspective, AIME is a goal for a lot of people, all right? But not for boys, all right? Boys have to go to the next level, all right? 6,000 people qualify usually each year, all right? And they will take your score, so if you are qualified, all right, that is nice, because they will take the score of your AIME plus your score on your AMC to see if you are qualified to go to the next level. The next level is what we call the USMFT or USMO level. This is for students up to 10th grade. This is for students up to 12th grade. All right. Every year, roughly there are only 500 students that qualify on that level. All right. These are called the USA Junior Math Olympiad. It's called USA Math Olympiad. All right. We just have the Olympiad in Korea, so that I still have all these kind of contests in my mind. So this is very similar, except that you don't ski, you do problems. All right. And I have a little highlight in red here. Qualifying for USMO is considered one of, if not the most prestigious awards for any high school students in this country. All right, that's what you really want to get. All right, but understand that only, well, I have the numbers here in 2013. In fact, you're right. So it's almost like more than 300,000 people competing on the AMC level. Right. Notice that I mentioned 264 here. Why do I mention 500? Because there are another 230 students or so that qualify for USA Junior Math Olympic here. Because the Math Association of this country realized that it's too difficult just to have one contest for everyone to focus on. So it's split into two. For students up to 10th grade, they should aim for USA Junior Math Olympiad. If you are beyond 10th grade, like 11 or 12th grade, you aim for the USMFT. Alright. Anyway, so I won't go through all the details because if your student, if your kid is reaching that level, they know the details, how to qualify for this kind of contest. Alright. And I'll tell you what happened subsequently. These 500 students subsequently, they go to USMFT or USMO, right? And then they do another contest. Those contests are very serious. It takes place in 2 days. And I don't think I have the details here. Maybe before I go to the detail, let me tell you what's the cutoff. It doesn't matter. They're very serious now. They look at score in 12 or 10, and your score in AIME, and then they kind of compute them to give them a score. So they score the cutoff. And they basically locate about 500 students to be qualified for USMO or USMFT. Right. So that's every year if you go to discussion forums, that's what people are predicting and guessing. So what score do I need to go to USMFT or USMO level? I think I skipped one slide here. In fact, you should not look at this slide. Don't. Yeah. Because there's one intermediate step too. Out of these students here, about 500 students here, they have to pick roughly about 60. All right. So and they pick 60 to go to a camp. It's called the MOB camp, Math Olympiad program, summer program. Usually these days they run it at Carnegie Mellon. All right. So that's then US has a national coach. They coach them to then attend IMO. So each year these 6 students represent our country, 6 of them. But if you reach that level, you know. I don't have to explain. Right? So I won't go into details. All right. So just in case you're serious, in fact, these are the rules about how they select the 6 students that represent our country. All right, every year. All right. In case you do not know, this country is finally winning because we have a new president. Maybe not because of the fact that I think we have excellent training in this country. All right. I think in the last decade or so, China might be #1 in the world in math contests. Not anymore. We have turned the tide. Now it's US actually. We're doing really well in the IMO contest. All right. So some students do not like time contests, so they're very stressful, right? If your kid is a deep thinker, and they don't really want to do this kind of time contest, let me introduce to you another contest called USA Math Talent Search, USMFT. All right? USMFT is very famous. They give you 5 problems to do the contest. You download the problems online. You have 5 weeks to solve the problem. 5 weeks, not 5 days. 5 weeks. All right. In fact, if your score is high enough, they can use the USMFT score to qualify to AIME. Kind of unusual. All right. So this is a proof-based test. In case you do not know, it's actually sponsored by NSA, National Security Agency. All right. So I think they might have their own agenda. They want smart kids to work for the country on encryption and decryption, actually. All right. But I won't go into details. All right. But these actually the papers are graded by NSA agents, actually. All right. By the mathematicians at NSA. All right. So I find it very interesting. All right. And this is an excellent way for you to hone your skills about how to do USMO or USMO problems actually. All right. So the question asks you actually USMO or USMO level. Right. But they spread out the time, so instead of solving problems in 1 day, you can have 5 weeks to solve the problems. All right. The problems are ranged in difficulty. The first one, everyone can solve. I mean everyone. Everyone can solve. If you spend hours staring at a problem, you finally can get the answer. All right. I'm not sure about the 5th problem on that test. All right. So, but this is a very nice contest. All right. So, in case you're curious, go look up USMFT. All right. All right. And I think I mentioned about the Super Bowl of the team contest, AIME. Right. So this is where they link 4 universities, Iowa, Penn State, UNLV, and the Georgia, via satellites. And each region can send a team or a few teams to do the contest. And this is considered the World Series of Mathematics competitions. Very important. If you are more interested in doing math contests as a group rather as individuals. There are other contests too. So I thought I'll list a few university math tournaments also. All right. Actually, the most prestigious one is HMMT, Harvard MIT Math Tournaments. It takes place twice a year. I think they changed the rules now. In the past, they swapped the campus. I think they do once in Harvard and once in MIT, and they take turns. Those 2 colleges are like siblings, they're next to one another. But I think they changed the rules now. I think now they do the November contest in Harvard. They do the February contest in MIT. All right, so twice a year. The most prestigious university contest is Harvard MIT, or HMMT. All right. Some people would like to take the Puma, which is the Princeton Math Contest. Also, these are all very prestigious. And Caltech, Harvard in California, they join force together. They have their own contest also. All right. Now, Stanford used to have their own contest, but I don't think they do contests anymore.
They did it this year.
They did again this year? They stopped it for a few years already.
They stopped it in 2014.
Right. So they come back this year? Oh, nice to know. All right, yeah. And then, of course, the BMT is still ongoing. The Berkeley Math Tournament also. All right. And some of these contests test you beyond the 4 pillars I mentioned. Some of them actually test you on calculus. All right, so they call it analysis contest, but it's actually a calculus contest. I think that's it. That's all I have for everyone. All right. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be around. Yeah. For the contest for girls, they're not local. You have to travel.
Yeah, current Dr. Yu offers AP Calculus DC, ABC prep class Saturday evening from 7
to 9 actually, right?
Yeah, 7 to 9. Yeah, the first class is the 12 class. Tonight will be the second class. If you want to try the first class, I have the video. Yeah, send me email. I can send you the email. The video here to Gmail address. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have in-depth geometry training class here? In-depth.
For what level? For geometry or for contest?
For the contest.
Oh no, yeah, very difficult. Yeah, we do contest training here for AMC 10, AMC 12 level, but not on a specific topic. We rotate the 4 topics. Yeah. So in fact, we are thinking of offering classes on a particular topic, and maybe do it for a short period, maybe 4 days, just on a particular topic. Starting this summer, that's the intention.
This summer, okay, sounds good. In June or July?
In start of the middle of June.
Middle of June.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
The schedule we are still planning for that.
Yeah.
So all the 4 pillars.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The reason is that it's very difficult for kids to be committed to a long program here in the Bay Area. So we're thinking of like offering topics 1 week at a time, something like that. Yeah. So that would be algebra, geometry, combinatorics, and number theory. But on AMC 10, AMC 12 level.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
And to help that Thank you. Oh, how do we sign up online for the summer training? When do we start signing up?
I'm still planning for it. I will publish online and
okay.
email for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
For the contest, do you have any like focus? Which test do you focus here?
The text, what
Yeah.
textbook you mean?
No, the contest.
Oh, here we mainly.
Because you have so many, so which
Yeah.
one do you?
We mainly focus on AMC.
AMC. Okay.
Yeah. So last year or so we have been mainly focusing on AMC 10 to AMC 12. Yeah. We also do middle school level training too.
Okay.
So like AMC 8 level.